Welcome everyone to Football X Anonymous podcast. As always, I have my co-host Chris Cherry with me. Mark might be along later if he can get done with his group project there. But a lot of football happening this weekend, Thursday through yesterday. Again, I did not hit any parlays. A couple schools screwed me over, but yeah, it was a good weekend overall in football, and especially hockey as well. Pittsburgh Penguins picking up two big wins, back-to-back games, Saturday and yesterday. But anyways, we will start off with the game recaps here. The only game on a Friday, it wasn't on ESPN Plus, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. Number 13, Albany took out number 14, New Hampshire, in both of their first games, 24-20. Jeff Undercuffler for Albany, pretty good game there. 3 touchdowns, had the 1 turnover, but all in all, I wish I would have been able to watch it. Chris, you called it right. Very competitive game, close at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that too. As I expected, being that they were 1 spot apart in both ranks, yeah, it was going to be a competitive game. But yeah, it looks like the higher ranked team won, as I'm sure was what was expected. I don't remember what the line or any of that was, but yeah.
Yeah, J.J. Jerome for UNH there, getting a blocked punt return touchdown in the end zone. And 28 carries, big load for Carl Mofor there for the Danes.
Not a very big production there, though, with 28 carries.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely big workload there. Albany did cover +2. They were the underdogs, actually. And the over-under pushed at 44.
I'm sure for anybody that bet that game, they were probably a little upset about that. But
yeah, well, at least you're not losing money. All right, let's go to Saturday's game. The first one here, number 5 Villanova getting their first win of the season, 16-13 over Stony Brook. And yeah, Villanova played absolutely terrible. I mean, I don't think Stony Brook is that good from my knowledge of Stony Brook, but to be the number 5 team in the FCS and only win by 3, not a good look for the Wildcats.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of mentioned it last week that Villanova is definitely more known for their basketball, but I mean, their football program, I feel like, isn't normally that bad either. It's just they're overshadowed by their basketball team. But yeah, when you're playing a team like Stony Brook and you're the number 5 team in the country, yeah, you need to actually win and win by commanding victories against these kind of teams.
Yeah, and it was 13-0 at halftime, and then Stony Brook scored in the third quarter, and with 2:49 left to go in the fourth, they got it to a 3-point game. Actually, if they wouldn't have missed the extra point on their second touchdown, they could have won it with a field goal at the end. But I don't. The play-by-play is not available on the ESPN app right now, so I'm not sure if they even got the ball back. 2:49, tough to get the ball back, but yeah, Christian Benford there for Nova had the 1 interception. Big day for Rajon Pringle, 9 for 171 and a touchdown there. Most of Daniel Smith's yards going to Mr. Pringle there. So yeah, first 2 games here, not very good days for the running game. But yeah, Nova.
I mean, Mr. Turner there, though, not a bad average, 6.5 a carry. But
Yeah. Stony Brook covered +9, and the under 56 hit. Let's go to number 11, Southern Illinois, going to 3-1, beating Youngstown State 32-22. The Salukis, Nick Baker, very efficient, not as many yards. But yeah, I mean, I watched this game a little bit because I had a bet in on it. And yeah, Southern Illinois, they were struggling with Youngstown State. But I mean, we've mentioned that before about Youngstown State. They're, they fight pretty hard, even though they don't always come out with the wins. And Mark Wade, when I was watching this game, oh my gosh, he was so frustrating. Only 94 yards to the air, under 50% completion. But that's not where he killed Southern Illinois. It was on the ground. You see 23 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown. Granted, that's minus sack yardage, so you have to take into account that. But yeah, him and Jaleel McLaughlin there, they literally ran through the Saluki defense all day. And, Southern Illinois was down most of the game, actually. Youngstown was out to a 12-0 lead. It was 19-7 at one point, and then Southern Illinois scored 17 unanswered. Actually, it's 15 unanswered. But yeah. And then Youngstown tied it up, and then Southern Illinois won it at the 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter, 30-22.
I mean, yeah, like you said, Youngstown seems like they can't finish, but they're a hard team to play throughout the game. So even though they're 0-3, I would actually, like, if I was a team getting ready to play them, I'd circle them on the calendar because they're no easy victory despite their record. But does Youngstown State run the option, or because I've never seen a quarterback carry the ball that many times unless it was in an option system.
No, it was literally a lot of scrambles. I mean, he got pressured quite a bit, and it was just open. They just weren't covering the quarterback. They got the receivers covered, but they couldn't cover the quarterback running. So, yeah. It's definitely going to be a tough season for Youngstown State. I would probably expect them to go 3-5 or possibly 4-4 if they can beat South Dakota. Because, they started out their first 4 games, North Dakota State, Northern Iowa, Southern Illinois. Now they get South Dakota State this coming weekend. And then South Dakota, North Dakota, finish up with Western Illinois and Missouri State. So that's why I said Missouri State, Western Illinois, they should win. South Dakota, I think, is an iffy one there. So I see three wins. I don't know if they can get past North Dakota. So
it'll definitely be interesting to see how their season folds out. But I mean, like we've been saying, though, they are a tough team. So who knows? They could somehow break through one of these weeks that we're not expecting them to, and get steal a victory from one of those teams.
Yeah, definitely. Their defense is definitely good. This was the first game out of their first 3 that they let up 30 points. So, and they have one of the best mascots in college football, I think, still. So, if you don't know what it is, Chris.
What is it?
The Penguins. Youngstown State Penguins. Romir Elliott there, almost 100 yards on the ground for the Salukis. Good game by him as well. Youngstown State did cover though, half pointer, 8.5 plus 8.5, and over 43. Number 25, Delaware, blowing out and shutting out Maine 37-0. I was completely wrong saying that I like Maine on Friday. Oh my gosh, this game is absolutely terrible. Joe Fagnano, what were you doing, man? But yeah, literally Delaware, it was all over from the start, from the kickoff. Dejon Lee took the opening kickoff back 87 yards for a touchdown. That's where it went downhill for Maine right away. Andre Miller also coughed it up twice there, and Jordan Swan did get the interception off of Nolan Henderson though for the Black Bears.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this game, other than that was just complete dominance by Delaware. I mean, obviously Maine wasn't ranked, but I wonder how close they were to being ranked, because Delaware there is the number 25. They're the last team on the list, so they're obviously the worst of the best. But to be blown out by a team like Delaware, you probably have to be kind of bad.
Yeah, maybe the Blue Hens got something cooking this season. We'll have to see if they get a test like Villanova did, because they played Stony Brook this weekend. So Delaware covered -2 and under 48. Couldn't get there. Next game here, number 17 Furman beating Samford in overtime 44-37. And I wish I would have watched this game the whole time. I was kind of just paying attention to it as I was checking scores throughout the day. And oh my Lord, Furman, what a comeback. They were down big early, 24-7 after the first quarter for Samford. And then Furman, they scored 10 points to make it a 7-point game at halftime. But then, I mean, it was 37-23 early in the fourth. Furman scored 14 points to get it to a tie with 3 minutes to go. Then they scored in overtime and got an interception, I believe. A fumble. Yeah. Fumble in overtime. At the Furman 2, actually. I did watch that end of that game there. Yeah. The guy fumbled at the Furman 2-yard line, and that's how Furman got the win. So yeah. Sisson there, not even close to a good completion percentage. But did have 3 touchdowns, turned it over twice. Devin went on the ground, got 100 yards there. But yeah.
I mean, this I feel like is the kind of Furman team that we were expecting. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago now, that in their loss they just looked terrible. But now in this one, it looks like they got it together and pulled out the victory.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, they had to come back the whole day. A lot of different touchdowns here. Obviously, you can see the 45-yard pick six by Chris Edmonds, the 55-yard punt return touchdown by Montreal Washington for Samford. So Samford didn't have to do it all with the offense. They got help from their special teams and defense with scoring there. Ty King and Ryan DeLuca for Samford and Furman, both over 100 yards receiving there. But yeah, a lot of turnovers in this game. There was 5 total, 3 for Samford, 2 for Furman. But yeah, overall, a pretty good game. 85-yard touchdown there to Ty King went most of his yards, but yeah, good game there. There was actually a lot of overtime games, games that we're not going to cover that were with unranked teams. You had Gardner Webb beating Presbyterian 31-24 in OT. I was watching the Chattanooga, the Citadel game. That one went to overtime 25-24 with Chattanooga getting a 2-point conversion to win it in their overtime drive. And yeah, that was the 3 overtime games because we hadn't had an overtime game yet, as far as I know. So
yeah. Wait, refresh my memory for a second because I'm blanking. But are the college overtime rules the same or similar to NFL overtime, or like how does that go?
no, it's different. Each team gets the ball. There's a coin toss, and you get to pick offense, defense, or side of the field, and you start at the 25-yard line. No clock, only play clock.
Yeah, because I noticed that that like this score was a full touchdown, whereas in the NFL it would only be probably a 6-point victory because they don't do the extra point after. So that's why I couldn't remember exactly how the college rules went.
Yeah. Yep. Samford did cover plus 10, over 55, big time. Let's go to the number 1 team in the country, James Madison, staying undefeated 20-17 over Elon. And again, for the 3rd straight week in a row, the Dukes have let me down, betting the over in their game. And this was their first road game of the season. And I think I said that on Friday, that would play into it. But yeah, they played absolutely terrible. I was listening to the game because, again, they don't broadcast. You can watch the broadcast, but you have to pay for this streaming service that they run it through. The CAA Colonial runs it through. And I'm like, no, I'm not paying to watch James Madison, especially when they do this to me 3 weeks in a row. Persiagi Obase, another really good game for him. Had the one fumble there, but overall, he's having a really good season. And I'm not sure there's not a quarterback controversy because Cole Johnson didn't play well. Gates Maloney came in. Obviously, he only threw it 6 times and only completed 3 of those. But he did lead them on the game-winning touchdown drive. So, I don't know what to see who starts this coming weekend for the Dukes, but if Cole Johnson doesn't stop turn the ball over, Gage Maloney could be right there. So yeah, they were down 17-3 at halftime. And for the 2nd straight week in a row, they shut out their opponent in the second half. Scored 17 unanswered points and won the game.
I mean, a win is a win, but eventually that kind of play is going to come back to bite them.
Yeah, I think when they play the better teams, I mean, like I said, their conference isn't that great. And I really don't know if they're going to have a big test, considering what the rest of their schedule looks like. They don't even play this weekend. That game got postponed against William and Mary, so that one will be played in 3 weeks. But yeah, they play Richmond twice, William and Mary, and then they play Elon again at the end of their season. So I don't know. I would have liked to see them play. Oh, that's why. Because I think their conference is only playing divisional play in the regular season, which is an issue for James Madison because there are some good teams in the other side of their conference.
Mhm.
I really don't know why the Colonial has their conference set up this way, with 7 teams in one division and only 4 in the other. So it doesn't really make sense to me. Actually, I do know why they do it. It's north and south, and yeah, they literally do it by geographically.
I mean, but
Albany,
there's plenty of examples of breaking the geographical divisions, though, especially in the NFL. Namely, the Cowboys being in the East. But
the north is Albany, Delaware, Villanova, Rhode Island, Maine, New Hampshire, and Stony Brook. South, James Madison, Richmond, Elon, and William and Mary. So,
yeah, I mean, but you could have put those the
You could have
2
put-
or 3 southernmost north teams in the other division.
yeah, I would think Delaware and Villanova should be in the south. They're the southernmost teams that are in the north. Especially Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying though. I think their conference championship is going to be difficult for James Madison, because I think the north is going to get tested with Villanova, Delaware, and Albany, even New Hampshire, possibly could put up a fight for that North Division crown. So I don't know. We'll see if James Madison can keep winning, which I'm sure they will. But I'm done betting over for James Madison. I'm done. Not doing it again. That's gonna be like a meme, one of those betting memes. I'll text someone like, I'm never betting James Madison over again. next weekend, bets James Madison over as the first leg of his parlay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, good job by Wesley McCormick for the Dukes. 1 interception. Omar Rogers for Elon also had an interception as well. But yeah, I think Percy Obasai there was the real story of the game. And the Dukes defense, I guess, they're pretty good in the second half, I would say. 0 points the last 2 weeks. And that's the thing that I think I like, though. James Madison's now getting 2 weeks to prepare for Richmond coming up. So Elon covered easily, plus 24. Under 49. I had 46. I even had 3 points less than what ESPN's line ended up at. And I still couldn't get over 46. Only 37 in this one. All right. Former number 1 team in the country, number 6 North Dakota State, getting their shutout win over Missouri State, 25-0. Zeb Nolan looking a little bit better. Very efficient, not as many yards again. Did have 2 touchdowns, threw a pick though. And yeah, this is the kind of game that we've been waiting to see for North Dakota State. Again, it's only 25 points, but it is conference opponent, so it's kind of null and void there anyways. But yeah, I mean, the issues I have with Zeb Noland, again, though, are you look at the touchdowns. One was an 81-yard touchdown reception. The other one, a 7. So that's 88 of his 135 yards on those 2 touchdowns alone. So that means you have 8 of 13 for, I don't know, 60, 50 something yards. I can't do the math in my head right now. Actually, it's 47 yards. 8 of 13 for 47 yards when you take out the 88 yards on the 2 touchdowns. So wonderful stats there. But yeah, Jalen Bussey had himself quite a good day as well. 10 yards per carry. Jeremy Webb there had the 1 interception for Missouri State. But yeah, North Dakota State's good win for them. They did cover minus 19 and the under 45 hits. Number 8, South Dakota State blowing out Western Illinois 45-10. My guy Mark Gronowski, 13-20, 197, 2 TDs, but he had 2 really long runs, 4 carries, 120 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. 80 of those yards were on 1 touchdown run, where he showed off his speed, and I didn't know he had the kind of speed that he did. I was watching the game a little bit. But yeah, man, that freshman can run. But yeah, I mean, I knew this game was gonna be like this. Besides, they had Pierre Strong had a 1-yard touchdown run. Besides that, Gronowski's other touchdown run was a 22-yarder. Jaden Donkey there had a 44-yard touchdown reception, and Leighton 12-yard touchdown catch. Isaiah Davis also there, 40-yard touchdown run. So massive gains for South Dakota State all day. And Western Illinois, I will say it, you do suck. So let's get a new mascot. That's like, you don't necessarily have to get a new mascot, but rename your mascot.
Yeah.
Leathernecks is not the best name for a mascot, I don't think so.
I mean, but like you said, forgetting about the name, the logo though is just, I get that he has a collar or whatever, but I would never guess the name Leathernecks from that logo.
Yeah, I know. Right? Yeah. This offense, man. I mean, I said how much I love Mark Gronowski already, but Pierre Strong is a legitimate FCS pro prospect for next season. I believe it's next season. I'd have to check what year he is. Granted, it doesn't really matter because, yeah, he's a junior. So, yeah, he could be out next year. The Yankee brothers as well. I love the Yankee brothers at receiver that they have, Jaden and Jackson. Yankee. So, yeah. Cade Tervier, Joshua Manchigia, and Dyshon Gales there with the 3 interceptions of Connor Sampson for the Jackrabbits. So South Dakota State covered minus 26, over 48. Luckily, Western scored.
Yep.
All right. First upsets of the weekend. This one was one that killed my parlays. UC Davis upsetting number 19 Idaho 27-17. And literally the Idaho defense had no answer for Hunter Rodriguez. He was pinpoint accuracy all day. No turnovers. They also didn't have an answer for Alonzo Gilliam. Blew through the line very often there. And yeah, I mean, the stats, I think, look like it would have been a bigger win for UC Davis, possibly. But yeah, Idaho was up, actually. It was 17-7 at one point. 17-7 early in the third, 9:04 to go. And yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is one of those games that definitely didn't go the way we thought. But if I can take anything away from this game, it's that we should stop making fun of the team's logos, because this was another one that we made fun of on Friday, and yeah, they came back and won their game this weekend. So
yeah, I'm never trusting Idaho again. I said they sucked before, and I'm going to stick with that. Granted, when I was watching the game, they did say that Idaho was very short-handed. I don't know if that was because of COVID or injuries. I didn't hear them specify why they were short-handed. So regardless, they lost. Mike Beaudry didn't have a terrible game other than the 2 interceptions. But yeah, the big three there, Rodriguez, Gilliam, and Crawford for UC Davis. Killed him, really. Connor Airy there, Isaiah Thomas, the interceptions for UC Davis. UC Davis plus 3.5, under 55. Number 22, Eastern Washington blowing out Northern Arizona 45-13. And I think this is the game people have been waiting to see from Eric Barrier. I'm not really sure if it's Barrier or Barrier. I have no idea the pronunciation on his name because I haven't been able to watch an Eastern Washington game yet. But yeah, quite the game there. 413, 3 touchdowns on about 60% completion. And yeah, I was surprised when I looked at the stats of this game that he threw it 49 times, considering they were up that much. But the thing is he threw against Idaho last week. He threw it 57 times. Granted, that was in a losing effort when they were, at one point and down. But yeah, they were in control most of the day. It was 24-6 at halftime, so I don't know why they had to throw it 49 times, really.
I mean, I don't know.
Granted, that's Eastern Washington's style, though. Their spread.
Mm-hmm.
Air raid. Yeah, Tamarick Pierce there. Good game for him. Over 100 yards. Had the 2 touchdowns on the ground. Yeah, other than that, actually, yeah. Andrew Boston there also 100 yards receiving. Stell 84 had the touchdown, also turned it over one time there. But yeah, if Eric Barrier can play like this, I mean, their schedule coming up, they're going to win their next 2 games. I'll say that. Idaho State versus Cal Poly. Then it gets tough at the end. At UC Davis, home against Idaho. So that's their second game against Idaho that they'll have.
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty tough schedule at the end there. But I mean, those 2 teams you just mentioned, we just talked about in the previous slide. But yeah, Eastern Washington has a tough schedule coming up. But if they, like you said, if they play like they did in this one, especially Barrier or however you want to say it, I hope we eventually are able to figure out exactly how to say his name. But for now, I'll say Barrier. But yeah, if he can play that way, then I don't think they'll have a problem.
Yeah, and their conference is kind of weird. Most teams playing Portland State, Northern Colorado, Montana, all not playing. Cal Poly only playing. Well, actually, they were supposed to be playing, but their first 2 games got postponed, so they've been pushing their games back. And then, Montana State is not playing. Montana does have 2 games that they're playing against Central Washington, and it says Portland State, but when I click on Portland State, it doesn't have games until September, so I don't know if Portland State's playing. I'm pretty sure Portland State isn't playing. But anyways, Devontae Ingram there, the interception for the Lumberjacks. Again, I don't understand that. Mascot reference for Northern Arizona, but hey, whatever. Eastern Washington covered minus 14.5, under 64. Big matchup here. Number 3, Northern Iowa getting the win 20-10 over number 15, Illinois State. Low scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, that's how Northern Iowa's been all year. You know, I don't think they've been that great. Kenton Wilhoit there, 29-yard pick six for Illinois State. Their only touchdown on the day. But yeah, not very convincing stats. It was hard to write stats for this one. But yeah, Northern Iowa keeps winning. So
yeah, I mean, but if they're going to keep winning and have a chance at winning a championship or whatever, then the quarterback there, McIlvain, will have to definitely clean up those numbers. I mean, he didn't throw for a touchdown. He ran for the one, but he was under 50% and under 150 yards, which those numbers will not, in a big game, those numbers will definitely not get you the win.
yeah, it was 10-0 after the first quarter for Northern Iowa. Illinois State tied it going into halftime, 10-10. And then in the fourth quarter, 10 straight points for Northern Iowa on the game. So yeah. Believe it's tough test for Northern Iowa coming up. Southern Illinois. Illinois State gets North Dakota State this weekend. Northern Iowa did cover -8 and under 37.
I wasn't sure about that under when I first heard about it, but I mean, clearly it was spot on because they only scored 30 points, but 37 just seems like a really low number.
It's the second straight week in a row we've had a 30 number as an over-under, and it's went under. I'm going to start betting all unders because there's not many games that have gone over this season so far. So, I don't know.
The people that set the over-unders really know what they're talking about.
All right. Number 7, Nicholls State beating Northwestern State 31-24. Hell of a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Lindsey Scott, though, this kid can play, man. 3 touchdowns again in this one. 390 combined yards. 2 turnovers there kind of killed him, but yeah. Julian Gums as well. A massive workload. That's a Derrick Henry workload there. 36 carries in a game. Cool. But he got 156, average 4.3 per. That's what you want to see. So, yeah. And this one, Nicholls State allowed a lot of long touchdowns. That was their issue in this, and why this was close, because Scooter Adams there, his rushing touchdown was 58 yards. They also allowed Aubrey Scott to run for an 80-yard touchdown. And then their last touchdown was only 13 yards, but still, you know, you just can't give up those big time plays.
But with those touchdowns, though, like, when were they in the game? Were they late touchdowns? Like, was this a close game the whole way, or was Nicholls State up by
No. 58-yard rushing touchdown by Adams was to tie it at 7. And the 80-yard touchdown was to get within 7, 21-14 in the third quarter.
Okay, yeah. So those were, neither one was like a garbage time touchdown. But yeah, if that Nicholls State offense though continues the way they have been, I mean, both Lindsey Scott and, as you mentioned, Julian Gums, the two of them together had an amazing game there. So if they can keep that up, I can definitely see their win total rising pretty fast.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't quite the 71 points per game they were putting up in the first two. Um, they are now down to 56.7 points per game. So,
Oh well. And their points given up probably took a hit too,
yeah,
because wasn't it only 3 points between the first two games?
yeah.
So now it's 9 points a game through the first two. Still really good.
Yeah, I mean their season's is starting to tighten up now. They have Sam Houston State, Incarnate Word, McNeese State, and Southeastern Louisiana coming up as their last 4 games of the season. So definitely only going to get tougher for Nichols. So need Lindsey Scott to play to the top of his game every single week.
Right.
Dijon Dixon there, good game for him, 7 for 115, 2 touchdowns through the air. Northwestern State covered plus 23, under 59 by 3. 4 by 4.
Yeah.
All right, number 23, Southeastern Louisiana getting the win 25-20 over McNeese State. Cole Kelly, 300-yard game there for the Lions. And yeah, I mean, McNeese, I don't think McNeese is that good. I thought they were good early in the year. But yeah, they have not been that great. Morgan Ellison for Sela there, 127 on the ground, had a touchdown as well, 100 yards through the air for Javon Connor as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you said it that McNeese State started off the season pretty well, but since then they've kind of fallen off. But I mean, again, I don't have the box score in front of me, so I don't know how close the game actually was, but it did end up only being a 5-point game.
Yeah, it was close throughout. I don't think Southeastern played that well, despite Cole Kelly's 300 yards. Like I said, the couple turnovers there. Or I guess Southeastern only had 1. Yeah, four turnovers for McNeese. So I don't know how they got it that close. McNeese defense must have stepped up because it was, tied at 3 after the first. It was 12-6 going to halftime for Southeastern, 22-13 after 3, and then 25-20. So close throughout.
Mm-hmm.
McNeese State did cover plus 11.5, and the under 62 hit. Let's go to the Sunday games. Yesterday, number 10 Jacksonville State blowing out Tennessee State 38-16. Zion Webb, good game for him, 3 touchdowns through the air. Not as great of a rushing day, yards wise, anyways. The averages are very good for Josh Samuel or Uriah West. But yeah, I mean, Jacksonville State, I figured this was going to happen as well. Tennessee State's not that great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jacksonville State has been proving, I mean, their record shows it there, but they've been proving that they're one of the better teams in the in the entire league this year. So
yeah, I agree. Gamecocks with the win here. Just checking on. Yeah, the OVC is I'm not sure what to think about the Ohio Valley anymore. With the next game that we'll see, proving it to be kind of wrong. So I don't know if anyone's going to be able to compete with Jacksonville State or not for the conference.
at this point, I'd say probably not.
Yeah. Jaquez Payton and Josh Green, interception each for Jacksonville State and Tennessee State. The Gamecocks, minus 16.5 covered, and under 56 hit by 1, 2, by 2. All right, last game here. Upset Murray State beating number 16 Southeast Missouri State 24-21. And yeah, Andrew Bunch had a rough day. 3 picks. Preston Rice turned it over as well twice. Didn't do much through the air at all. But he got it done on the ground with a touchdown. DeMonte Witherspoon really helped him out with a 100-yard performance there as well. And I was watching this game a little bit because I had also put in a Sunday parlay, which didn't work either. But yeah, I mean, the Racers, their defense was pretty good. They forced 3 turnovers. Obviously, the 3 interceptions there of Bunch. But yeah, I don't know. I thought SEMO was a pretty good team. It was at home as well for Southeast Missouri. So that's why I thought they would win as well. But because they had fans. So I don't know. Murray State now has eked out their 2 wins by 4 over UT Martin and now by 3 over Southeast Missouri State. So I don't know. The 2 pick sixes was interesting to watch as well in this game. I thought that Southeast Missouri was going to win at one point in the fourth quarter because they were down 17-7 after the first quarter. No one scored the whole entire way until the fourth quarter. Very boring middle of the game.
Mhm.
But then SEMO scored 2 straight touchdowns to go up 21-17, and then with 8 minutes to go, Murray State scored their touchdown to win it. So yeah.
Seems like a lot of these games, the last score is in like the middle of the fourth quarter, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
That the teams can't get into field goal range or anything in the end of the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's FCS, man. Marcise Floyd there, 2 picks, 22-yard pick 6. Shabari Davis, 33-yard pick 6. Al Young also had a pick for SEMO, and Cortez Roberts for the Racers. Murray State as well had an interception there. So yeah, not great offensive stats. Take out the 2 touchdowns for defense. Murray State wins 17-14. Murray State covered plus 13.5 and under 49 hits by 4. So yeah, that is all the games we had for our show this weekend. A lot of other good games going on. That I watched a little bit of some of the other ones that they had. I did not watch the main Delaware game, unfortunately. But yeah, I watched the Southern Illinois Youngstown State game, Chattanooga Citadel, Furman, Samford. I turned it off. I stopped watching the games actually in the middle of the day once Idaho lost. And my first parlay had already gone by the wayside once James Madison didn't hit the over. And then once Idaho lost my other one, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm not watching the rest of the games. I also had to work though, so it's but yeah, I watched some of the Sacred Heart Duquesne game. That was actually pretty interesting. In the Northeast or the NEC Northeast Conference there.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, I'm sure you would know some of these teams, possibly.
Probably.
In the NEC, Duquesne, Long Island, Central Connecticut, Merrimack, St. Francis, Wagner, Bryant, and Sacred Heart.
Yeah, I've heard of a couple of those. I think Sacred Heart being the most notable that you mentioned there. But
Well, they lost. So to Duquesne, 30-27. It was actually a pretty good game. I watched that one before the Jacksonville State game came on. But yeah. Anyways, here's the updated top 25. I was hoping it wasn't going to be too small. I don't know if it is or not. Chris, what do you think?
I mean, when because I'm doing our Zoom call on the phone. So when this slide came up, I was like, I couldn't see anything, so I had to zoom in here a little bit. But on the computer, it looks all right.
Yeah. So again, not as much shakeup, I don't think, this week as last week. Obviously, there weren't as many upsets, only two, Southeast Missouri State and Idaho, which those were the two teams that actually dropped out of the top 25. So, but yeah, JMU continues to be the number one team. Weber State, their game got postponed this weekend, so they stay at number 2. North Dakota jumps up to number 3 with their win over South Dakota this week. Northern Iowa drops 3-4 with their close win over Illinois State. North Dakota State jumps up 6-5, shutting out Missouri State. Nova drops from 5 to 6. Their very close win over Stony Brook. Nickel State stays at 7. Close win over Northwestern State there. South Dakota State blowing out Western Illinois. They stay at number 8. Kennesaw State, their game was postponed, stays at number 9. Southern Illinois beating Youngstown State. They move up 11-10 into a tie with Jacksonville State, who also stays at number 10. Sam Houston State, they didn't play this week. They stay at number 12. Albany wins over New Hampshire. They stay at 13. Number 14 is interesting because I'm not sure if Chattanooga is right or not. I don't really know how to check because it says that they moved up from 18 to 14. Chattanooga did beat the Citadel in overtime this week. But last week at number 18 was Charleston Southern. So I'm not sure if they got it wrong last week or if they got it wrong this week. Charleston Southern hasn't played yet. They will play this weekend, starting this weekend. But yeah, I'm not sure if Chattanooga is actually the 14th team or if it's Charleston Southern. So that's the only issue I had with this. Furman comes back to beat Samford. They move up to 17-15. Eastern Washington blowing out Northern Arizona moves up 22-16. New Hampshire with their loss to Albany, they drop from 14 to 17. Southeastern Louisiana, they get the win over McNeese State, moving up from 23 to 18. Delaware shutting out Maine 25-19. They move up. Wofford, they didn't play. Game postponed. They stay at 20. South Dakota, they were in a tie with Wofford at 20 last week. They lose to North Dakota on Thursday. They moved down 1. Illinois State, they lost to Northern Iowa, so they moved down from 15 to 22. UC Davis with the upset over Idaho. They go from unranked to number 23. Monmouth still hasn't played yet. I believe they kick off this weekend. I could be wrong. I don't have the schedule in front of me. They moved down 23 to 24. And then Incarnate Word, they won this weekend over Lamar, I believe it was. Yeah, 42-20. So they move up into the rankings for the first time at number 25.
Those are some pretty interesting rankings, especially the bottom half there. because 1 through 13 essentially stayed the same with a couple swaps. But I think, like, while you were talking it all out, I think I figured out that Eastern Washington had the biggest jump. I think they moved 6 spaces up, which I think, other than the unranked teams, that was the biggest jump from teams that were already on the list from last week. So, well, it'll be interesting to see if they keep climbing up the ranks or not.
Yeah. Just taking a kind of pre-Friday show preview, looking at the games this coming weekend to see if we have any ranked matchups. We do. Nicholls State plays Sam Houston State. Possibly could have another one if Chattanooga is wrong, and it is Charleston Southern, because they play Kennesaw State this week. Northern Iowa plays Southern Illinois. And we also, let's see if there's any other ones. Oh, UC Davis playing Weber State. Illinois State playing North Dakota State. And I believe that is it. Yeah, that is all the ranked matchups. So, yeah, a couple good ones that we'll have on Friday.
Some pretty good ones.
All righty, let's get into the NFL news here. So we'll start off with probably the biggest piece of news coming out today, that the franchise tag deadline could get moved. It's slated right now to be tomorrow at 4:00. But there's not a salary cap yet. So we don't have the number that we need. So the NFL and NFLPA are negotiating and looking to possibly move it. And last year it was also moved. I didn't really remember this from last year until I saw it on Twitter today. It was moved to within. Someone said it was moved to within 1 minute of the legal tampering window deadline, or the start of the legal tampering window. So who knows? But yeah, it will possibly get moved back. I heard almost a whole week. I heard that franchise tags could get pushed probably possibly to March 15th or 16th, 2 and 1 days before free agency starts on St. Patrick's Day next Wednesday.
I mean, I know I'm happy about potentially moving back the deadline because I've already mentioned it on a previous show, but I'm waiting for the Jets to do something with Marcus May, and I've heard that they're looking into franchising him. So if they're planning on it, now they have a little bit more time to figure out if they really want to. And they also have another week to maybe possibly give him a new deal, but who knows if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they don't want to set the number yet. I know the reasons for each side. The NFL would like to set the number right now because the teams want time to get, all right, we're going to franchise tag or not this guy or not. And then, we have X amount of days to get our free agents signed, re-signed, or whatever moves they need to do to get under the salary cap, etc. But the NFLPA doesn't want to set it yet. They want the TV deals to get done before it gets set, so they can know what percentage they're getting. And, so we'll still have to wait. We'll have to see tomorrow. I'm not even sure that it will be tomorrow. We might get something some news tonight. And
Mhm.
if the NFL sends something out saying that, they're moving the deadline. So, but yeah, that's probably the biggest news here. We also had some teams trimming the fat to clear cap space here. So we'll start off with a couple big ones. I was kind of surprised, but given his cap number and the amount of cap space they said, not surprised at all. The Seahawks, they released defensive end Carlos Dunlap. They traded for him last season. I don't remember the compensation that they gave to Cincinnati. I believe it's like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. I couldn't remember, but I mean, obviously I don't think they gave up too much, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Trying to see here. Oh, yeah. They just traded BJ Finney and a 7th round pick. So yeah, not giving up at all. So but yeah, I mean, I thought he really rejuvenized their pass rush when he came in. So, but they do save 14 million in cap space with that release. So big money there for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I don't remember what their cap situation looked like, but yeah, 14 million is a big number whether you're under it or over it, because that's 14 more million you could spend. I mean, I don't know. I could see him coming back there for a cheaper price though, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know though. I think he's going to have a pretty good market. He is older, so that has to play into it. But over the cap has the Seahawks sitting at 18.6 million. So
then now they're over 30 with that, unless that's worked into. But I don't know.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not because he's still on there when you click on their team. But yeah, I mean they need all the money they can get though. Trying to get a long-term deal done with Jamal Adams. And they also have a couple guys coming down the line in the next couple of seasons. DK Metcalf specifically. I think Tyler Lockett will need a new deal soon, as well as Shaquille Griffin. So, yeah, definitely have some guys coming down the line for Seattle.
I mean, I don't think Griffin is as big of a priority as some of those other guys, but yeah. I mean, it might also come down to they might have to choose between the two receivers who they'd rather keep, which I think at this point would be DK Metcalf.
Oh, by far, yeah. All right, another big name guy that was released today. The Raiders, they let go safety LaMarcus Joyner. That saved $9.95 million in cap space. And I have this really good tweet. Chris, I actually screenshotted this stuff. From Field Yates, the 2019 free agency / trade additions for the Raiders here. So Antonio Brown, 3 years, $50 million, cut before the season began. Tyrell Williams, 4 years, $44 million, cut after 2 years and 42 catches. LaMarcus Joyner, 4 years, $42 million, cut after 2 years, 0 interceptions. And then Trent Brown, 4 years, $66 million, and he is available for trade right now. So.
Yeah, that was the first year that Mayock took over, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, not saying that any of those contracts or acquisitions were bad, but I mean, things like that'll happen with a rookie general manager. So, again, not on the scale that what happened to him. I mean, the Antonio Brown thing was
Yeah,
beyond anything I've ever seen.
They also lost a 3rd-round pick in the AB
Yeah.
trade.
So, I mean, but I think that the future of the Raiders is relatively bright. So, yeah, I expect them to continue moving forward.
Division's not getting any easier.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
Unfortunately for them. All right. Another guy let go, or technically not let go today, but his team option got declined. The Bears are letting offensive tackle Bobby Massey go to free agency. That saves $5 million in cap space for Chicago. They needed offensive line help anyways. Both him and Charles Leno possibly going to be gone, so they will need 2 new tackles for Chicago there. Lions also saving some cap space, releasing linebacker Christian Jones, $2.5 million there, and he was a starter. It said on Twitter. I didn't really know the name too much.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not really familiar with him, but the fact that he was a starter and only worth $2.5 million is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, Detroit needs help on defense anyways. So, another guy who is going to be a free agent, the Titans. They are not going to tender. I'm not sure if he's exclusive rights or if he's a restricted free agent, but wide receiver and returner, mainly returner, Khalif Raymond. He will be a free agent. And if people are looking for special teams, man, Khalif Raymond's your guy. He's one of the best special teams returners.
Yeah, I mean, he also shined in some moments on offense too, but yeah, like you said, he's mainly the returner. And there's plenty of teams out there that could use a guy like him.
Yeah, and offensively, yeah, like you said, speed for days. I feel like that's the only time I remember him catching balls from Ryan Tannehill is when he was going all the way downfield. The Saints got some work in this week. They restructured linebacker Demario Davis and defensive end Cameron Jordan's contracts. That combined to get them $13.4 million in cap savings. They're still in a world of hurt, though. So
they're slowly but surely climbing out of that hole that they dug themselves.
Yeah.
But I know personally when I saw their 2 names pop up on my phone, I was very nervous for a second because I was expecting it to say Saints released those 2, and I was like, hold on now. I know you need to save some cap room, but then I saw restructure. I was like, okay, that's better.
Yeah. Yeah. The Saints over the cap has them close they have them 48.8 million right now.
And that's without the 13.4 million?
I believe that's with.
Oh.
I'm not exactly sure though, because when you hit the restructure on the scroll down thing, it says dead money and cap savings. It says 0 for Demario Davis and only 93,000 for Cameron Jordan. So I believe that would mean that the restructures are all already counted in that. A lot of other stuff the Saints can do still. Specifically, I've heard a million times what they can do. Restructure Michael Thomas, extend Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Ramczyk are probably their top priorities. All right. Also with the Saints, they re-signed running back Ty Montgomery. He's going to get the vet minimum, so around $1 million. and 137,500 in signing bonus. So good for Ty Montgomery, I guess.
I mean, I wish I could get that kind of bonus from a job.
Yeah.
137,000. It's a nice little payday.
To sign your name. Yep. The Steelers also re-signing one of their own offensive lineman, J.C. Haasenauer. He gets a 1-year deal to remain in Pittsburgh. Backup, he was the swing interior guy, guard center, and he was mainly the backup center to Marquise Pouncey this past season.
Do you think he has the potential to take over the job now?
No, he's not going to be what's it called? I guess replacement. He's not
Yeah.
he's going to replace Marquise Pouncey. No, they're gonna draft someone or get someone in free agency. With what money, I don't know.
So, but in a scenario where they couldn't get anybody else, you don't think he's capable to keep the job?
He's okay, but I don't know. I think it would actually be fine for him to be the starting center this year. Just because it's Ben's last year, and from what I've heard, Ben doesn't want to break in a rookie center. So
yeah,
that's why I'm kind of surprised that we hadn't heard anything about Ben being mad at Marquise Pouncey for retiring when Ben's coming back for another year. Because from what I heard, that was always the plan, was for them to retire at the same time. So anyways, I think Mike Pouncey could have had a hand to play in that, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think Marquise wanted to retire with Mike more than he wanted to retire with Roethlisberger.
I mean, I don't blame him either. Even though they've been teammates for so long, he's been his brother his whole life. So.
Twin brother.
Yeah, exactly.
The Bills, they re-signed their restricted free agent linebacker Andre Smith to a 2-year deal. That one is worth up to $3 million. So low cost backup linebacker signing their guy who they traded for last year from the Panthers. Cost them a 7th round pick. But also, I remember during the season they cut him though, and then they signed him back. So I don't know.
Apparently, he played himself into a new 2-year deal though. So.
Yeah, like I said, low cost signing. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Giants also bringing back one of their own, tight end Levine Toilolo. He will be back for 2021 on a restructured deal. Originally scheduled to make $2.95 million, I'm sure. Well, restructure usually get the same amount overall. Signing bonus just comes up front, and yeah. So his cap number lessened a little bit. And 2 trades that could be happening relatively soon. The first one we've known would be coming eventually. Eagles tight end Zac Ertz. I heard over the weekend that he could be traded within the next couple of days or this week sometime, possibly. Eagles still having a stalemate with him because Ertz would like to get released so he can pick where he goes. Eagles want to get something back for him, so
I mean,
drag out.
I mean, he's been one of the better tight ends during his career. So I'm kind of surprised that the Eagles aren't kind of giving him the Deshaun Watson treatment. I mean, I know Deshaun Watson has the no trade clause and all that, but I'm surprised they're not at least having him give them a set of teams or something to talk to.
Because they need the money now.
Yeah, but I can also see him doing the whole Antonio Brown thing when he refused to go to Buffalo. Like, I could see that happen with Ertz, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. He said he would love to play the rest of his career in Philly, but not going to happen with the way it's going. So, and one other trade that could possibly happen, not soon, but it has been talked about. The Lions have had talks with teams about possibly trading backup quarterback Chase Daniel. He's made. That's one I didn't screenshot. I should have. I saw a tweet over the weekend, Chase Daniel's career earnings, and it was pretty good for a backup for most of his career. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think of any team that would want a guy like him. I mean, like you said, he's been a backup most of his career. I don't think he's really played that much. And he is on the older side. So, like, just thinking about all the options out there, I think I'd rather pay for a guy like an Alex Smith or Ryan Fitzpatrick rather than trade for a guy like Chase Daniel.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that was said is that his repertoire of coaching young quarterbacks has been very good. I don't remember all the stops that Chase Daniel has had because he's had a bunch. But when he was in New Orleans, that's where he really learned how to, coach other quarterbacks from Drew Brees. So, yeah, good teacher for Chase.
Yeah.
All right. That is all the news we have. I haven't seen anything else on the Twitter feed. So we're going to go into everyone's favorite Monday game. Would you rather here? And we are doing off-ball linebackers in our 2021 draft rankings. That is why I'm wearing my Luke Kuechly jersey. And we will start with linebackers as well. So, 2 free agents here. Levante David, KJ Wright. Chris, go ahead.
Oof. This one's actually really tough because they're both amazing linebackers. But I think at this point, obviously in these kind of situations, you have to look at what they're going to give you over what they've done in their career. So I think that Levante David still has more to give, and I think at this point is the better player than KJ Wright. I mean, obviously, he was a big part of Seattle's defense over the last however many years now. But, I mean, it just seems like ever since their secondary broke up, the entire defense fell apart. So he hasn't really been able to keep that defense together. And not saying that Levante David is the reason that Tampa Bay's defense is as good as it is, but he is a big reason for that. And being matched up with guys like Shaquille Barrett and other guys on that defense too helps him out. But I think that he can, wherever he goes, he can be that defensive quarterback. He can be the guy that you build the defense around. And I mean, he showed it. I mean, you have that picture right there of him. That's Kelsey there. Yeah, he's a great coverage linebacker as well. So I would definitely go with Levante David here.
I agree. I don't think he's going anywhere though, Chris. I think Tampa will re-sign him. Will not be the same case for KJ Wright. I think his time in Seattle is done. He said he's not taking a hometown discount, so he will be gone from Seattle. Just another one of their Legion of Boom era players gone. Bobby Wagner, the last one left there. So, yeah, it's kind of been tough. I think, KJ Wright has been overshadowed by Bobby Wagner most of his career. So that's made it tough for him to have a lot of personal accolades like the Pro Bowl, All Pros, and such. Plus, both these guys, it's harder because they're both outside linebackers in 4-3 base schemes. So a lot of attention goes to the middle linebackers. Guys like Luke Kuechly when he was playing Bobby Wagner there. Granted, the Bucs run a 3-4, so they used to run a 4-3 though, I believe. So they switched when Todd Bowles came in as a DC. So 3-4 there for the Bucs. David, one of the inside linebackers with Devin White, but I think Levante David's been undervalued around the league as far as linebackers go, just in general. So, yeah, I agree. Both are around 30. KJ Wright's 1 or 2 years older, I believe. But yeah, I think Levante David is still in his prime.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what, kind of just piggybacking off what you were saying. It'll be interesting to see what Tampa Bay does. I agree with you. I think he stays there, but they have a lot of decisions to make with a lot of their players. So yeah. It'll be interesting to see who they decide to keep and who they let walk.
Best way for Tampa to do it, re-sign Chris Godwin, re-sign Levante David, let Shaquille Barrett walk, draft the pass rusher in the first round. Anyways, all right, next one here. Another linebacker, outside linebackers here in 3-4s. Leonard Floyd, Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick coming off a 12.5 sack campaign. I will go first. Both players have had so-so careers. Leonard Floyd, not that great in Chicago. But when he went to LA, turned out to be a very good switch for him. Hassan Reddick, first-round draft pick. He was the Cardinals' first-round draft pick when we were at the draft in 2017. So he really hadn't done much because they were playing him as an off-ball linebacker. And then I think late last season, they kind of put him up on the line and let him rush the passer. And then this season, he just balled out. Had, 4 sacks against the Giants? Or was it 5?
I forgot how much, but it was something like that.
Yeah. Crazy game against the Giants that he had there. So, I don't know. It's very tough. I don't think either player has shown to be that special. But I think I'm going to go with Leonard Floyd. I don't know. It's just kind of a gut thing here. I think Leonard Floyd is more of a veteran. He knows how to rush the passer consistently now. I think especially when he got to LA and then they re-signed him last year. He's in a better defense as well. So, I think that Leonard Floyd is the better player. I don't really have much. It's definitely a tough one here.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this one's a tough one, but I think I'd have to go with Leonard Floyd as well, basically for the same reason you said. I think he's the better player. He has the better potential. Although with that switch that Hassan Reddick had being put on the line more, I think that helps him out a lot. But again, I think Leonard Floyd is better no matter what situation he goes to, no matter what team he goes to. I think he can still make a bigger impact than Hassan Reddick can.
All righty. would be interesting to see Leonard Floyd in Denver this year. Just saying. I think that's a good fit for Leonard Floyd. All right. Next one here. We got some linemen. Brandon Sheriff, Joe Tooney. Go ahead, Chris.
These are two guys I know all too well because their names have been linked to the Jets for years now. Being that the Jets have such a bad offensive line. Especially Joe Tooney, because before I believe he was franchised last year.
Yeah.
Before that happened, everybody thought he was going to be signed by the Jets. And now that he's a free agent again, I keep hearing it again. Same goes for Sheriff, though. And I think I'd have to go with Brandon Sheriff, though, because I think he's just the more physical, like, better lineman just overall. I just think he's the more intimidating presence there. And yeah, not much to say about these two, but Sheriff, well, I don't know their ages necessarily, but I'm relatively certain that Sheriff is kind of in his prime right now. So that's another reason I would go with him.
I'm sticking with you as well, Chris. Brandon Sheriff, I know him well from playing against the Eagles. He's just overall the better player. Joe Tooney, he didn't play that well on his franchise tag last year. Granted, the Patriots overall weren't their normal team with all their opt-outs that they had. But, I don't know. Brandon Sheriff's perennial Pro Bowler. He's been an All-Pro before, I believe, anyways. I don't have the official stats in front of me. But, yeah, I think Brandon Sheriff can secure someone's line. Whoever would like to sign him, I think he's going to be a starting guard for whoever gets him for the next, 6, 7, 8 years. But, yeah. And both, I think, age-wise, Chris, I think both are in their upper 20s,
Okay.
27, 28, as far as I know anyways. All right, last one here. It's a tough one. I didn't watch it, but we just had the NBA All-Star game last night. Team LeBron beat Team Durant 170 to 150. So, in the spirit of that game, we have the probably all-time debate amongst NBA fans: LeBron James or Michael Jordan. And I will go first. So, LeBron has 4 titles. MJ has 6. And that is playing 3 less seasons than LeBron has. LeBron has made the playoffs 1 more time than Michael Jordan. 17 times an All-Star for LeBron, 14 for MJ. And yeah, I don't know. This is literally like, I don't know. I am going to go with LeBron. It's just because I never saw Jordan play. So I'm going with the current best player in the NBA. People will probably say that LeBron's not the best player anymore, but I still think he is. He took over in the playoffs last year with the Lakers. So yeah, I'm going to go with LeBron. He has all the scoring, everything like that. So Michael Jordan, he does have a race team now. So,
well, I guess we aren't going to be agreeing on all of them this week. I thought there might have been a chance, but I'm going the other way on this one. I'm going with Michael Jordan. Whenever I think about these two,
I always also think about the NFL debate between like Brady and Montana, for like who's the best quarterback of all time, and like that argument, 90% of the time I hear the rings, which Brady has been to more and has more rings, but in this case, LeBron's been to more, but Jordan has the rings. And if my memory serves, he never lost one. I think he was a perfect 6-0. I could be wrong on that. But yeah. And also the argument for Jordan or more against LeBron is that Jordan never had to create these super teams that LeBron is creating. He did it as the unanimously best player in the league with a good supporting cast, but they were not the superstars like they have today in today's NBA. So I think that Jordan is definitely the better player.
Yeah, I will say one thing that Jordan does have him in personal accolades there. More regular season MVPs and finals MVPs. You know, a hell of a lot more scoring titles. LeBron only has 1. Jordan's got 10. But I don't know. I just think, LeBron has won only 4 titles in 18 years. But I think the difference for me was he's done it with 3 teams versus Jordan getting 6, all with 1 team in a non-free agency time. So, yeah, that's one of the maybe we should have the Brady Montana next week.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Next week we might have some franchise tag deadline issues or St. Patrick's Day. I don't know. We'll see what I come up with. for our well, that's the thing. I like to keep the last one non-football. So we'll see what I can come up with for next week. But anyways, that is our Would You Rather game for this week. And now let's get into our 2021 NFL Draft off-ball linebacker rankings. So 4-3 outside linebackers, 3-4 inside linebackers, or actually 4-3 middle and outside linebackers, 3-4 inside linebackers. All right, Chris, you're up first.
All right, so I'm not going to spend too much time on the first guy because I'm sure you'd like to talk about him a little bit because he's from one of your favorite schools, with Micah Parsons there at Penn State. But he is in pretty much every ranking or every mock draft, everything I've seen, he's the unanimous number 1 linebacker, both inside and out. So, I mean, for that reason alone, I had to put him at number 1. The only thing about him is that he opted out of the 2020 season, so there's not really anything to go off of him for this past season. But in the seasons before that, he was incredible. Like I said, I'll give you the opportunity when we go to your list to talk about him more. So I'll move on to Xavier Collins there at Tulsa. I like him a lot. He's I don't know what position he'll necessarily play in the NFL, but he is both an inside and outside linebacker, according to this website I have here. But yeah, he's got really great production, really great numbers in his career there at Tulsa, and he when he first came on the scene, though, he was a lot of the NFL scouts and stuff doubted that he was going to be able to be an NFL player, but yeah, he's proved them wrong up to this point. I mean, obviously he hasn't been in the NFL yet, but he's pretty much got the whole package. He's 6'4", 260, which is a good size for a linebacker. And he's got the speed and agility and athleticism to be a cover linebacker, which is, I mean, what you kind of need for a middle linebacker. But yeah, he's projected to go in the first 2 rounds. Some have him at the end of the first, and others have him in the second round. So I expect him to be a very high pick. And then my number 3 guy is Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa. I think I said that right. And he's the first guy on this list that is purely just an outside linebacker. And just like Collins, he's got a shot at the first round this year, but he's also projected to go in the second round this year. But he in 2020 he didn't have the greatest of numbers. He had good numbers, but he kind of regressed from 2019. In 2020 he had 61 tackles, with 1.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, or 3 pass breakups and 1 interception. So those are decent numbers across the board, but they were nothing compared to his 2019 numbers, where he had 79 tackles, 8.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 4 passes defensed. The only thing he was missing in 2019 was an interception, which linebackers don't always get interceptions, so it is what it is. But he's definitely got a lot of potential. And it seems like he is being compared most to a guy formerly of the Jaguars in Telvin Smith, because he's a fast linebacker with great coverage skills, but he, according to this, his one knock is that he needs to get better at the run game, which, I mean, I don't really expect linebackers all that often. I expect them to be more better in coverage than run defense, but it helps when they are good at run defense as well. All right, number 4 is Chaz Serrat from UNC. I think he's one of the more, I guess intriguing is the right word. He's one of the more intriguing prospects in this draft, because he was not always a linebacker. He played. He started off his college career as UNC's quarterback for 7 games in 2017, and he actually played pretty well as a quarterback, passing for 1,342 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, which is all right for 7 games. But clearly that wasn't the spot for him, so they switched him to linebacker, and he kind of just took off. In 2019, he had 115 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 3 passes defensed, and 1 interception. And the number that sticks out to me there is the 115 tackles, which means he was in a lot of the plays. He was able to take down the ball carrier in a lot of different plays. Obviously, 115 there. But then, in 2020, I don't have his stats right here, but
he still played well in 2020, and he's got a perfect skill set for a linebacker. He's got good size. He's 6'1", and he's 227. And he's got speed and strength too. He's got his 40 time is 4.69, which is pretty decent for a linebacker. But yeah, like I said, he's one of the more intriguing prospects due to his rare story of being a quarterback and then changing to linebacker, which might be the best decision he's ever made. Now, my number 5 here is Alabama's Dylan Moses. And a big reason I put him on here is the Alabama factor. Because, I mean, it's hard to leave Alabama players off these lists. But the linebackers in this class are just so good that, for me, Moses got dropped all the way down to 5 there. But another reason why, though, is that he didn't have the greatest 2020 season. Obviously, the team did. They won the championship and all that, but his season was not that great. I mean, he was all right in pass coverage, but he lacked in tackling, and his stats were pretty average.
Coming off a torn ACL.
Yeah, that too. But again, like you said, he tore his ACL in 2019. So I don't know if that lost season kind of hindered his then 2020 season or what, but if he can get back to form from before that, I mean, in 2018, he had great numbers. He had 86 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, a forced fumble, and 1 pass deflection. So he was pretty good in coverage. And even on the line there, like I said, he had 10 tackles for loss. So if he can get back to that form, then he'll be a great addition for whoever decides to take a chance on him. He's definitely he's projected to go day 2 between rounds 2 and 4. So we'll see how that goes. But and then my final one, the sleeper there, is Baron Browning from Ohio State. I mean, obviously, I put him there because, well, yeah, he's a sleeper, but also, I think the Ohio State pedigree is going to help him out a lot. He's on the slower side. He's 4.76, which I think is the slowest on my list. I'd have to check that, but I think that was the slowest on my list. And I mean, he wasn't very consistent in the 2020 season. He started off the season kind of quiet. He didn't really do much in the beginning of the season, but he played well in the second half of the season. He made some key plays in the playoffs against Clemson and Alabama. So, I mean, those are 2 games that you really have to look at because they are the playoff games. They are like the most important games that he probably played in his career. And then he's definitely got a lot of upside, but he needs a lot of work still. So anybody that's going to draft him isn't drafting him to come in and play right away. He's definitely the more developmental and only situational guy right out the gate. I mean, that's what he was doing even with Ohio State back in 2019. He was rotating with Tuff Borland at middle linebacker for the Buckeyes in 2019. So, but I mean, his numbers were decent for his part-time role. And
Yeah, like I said, if he can live up to his potential, then he'll be a great steal for somebody in possibly late day 2, early day 3.
Yeah, a lot of linebackers to choose from for the sleepers. Also, his two teammates, Justin Hilliard and Tuff Borland, who you mentioned there. 3 Ohio State linebackers all went to the Senior Bowl this year. So, Chris, I'm just happy that you didn't pick a day 2 guy, a solid day 2 guy for your sleeper this week. For once. All right. My rankings here very similar, same top 3 here. Micah Parsons, my guy. He would have completely changed Penn State's 2020 season. I firmly believe that he was really the heart and soul of the defense. And when he opted out, my issue is that he didn't opt back in, like Rashad Bateman did at Minnesota. Because he originally opted out because the Big Ten said they weren't going to play. Then they said they were going to play. And then Micah Parsons decided to not play and stick with his draft training. So we'll have to see how the opt-out year comes into play. And we have breaking news. I'm sure you just got it too, Chris. The Cowboys have came to an agreement with Dak Prescott on a long-term deal. No financials yet. Waiting for them to come out. But Ian Rappaport just reported that they have agreed to a deal with Dak Prescott. So I don't know if we want to detour down that rabbit hole right now, Chris, or not.
Right. So I clicked on the tweet on Twitter just because I was curious. And the first reply is a guy saying, I've been a lifelong Cowboys fan. So, wait, okay, this probably is a troll. But it says, I've been a lifelong Cowboy fan since 2019, and I can say this is the most embarrassing moment of my life. I'm ashamed to be a fan right now. So I'm turning in my card. Goodbye, Dallas.
I don't know. I've said it before that I don't think Dak is worth the money considering the offense that he plays in, who he plays with in the offense. I think he did prove me wrong though last year. Their offensive line is aging. They're going to have to replenish that part of the offense. I think that's really the only part that they really need to fix on the offensive side of the ball. They're good at receiver. They're good at running back. So if they can get the offensive line settled out, I think they would be fine on offense. They really just their biggest issue with the offseason is to fix the defense so they don't have to outscore people like they were having to do in the first few games that Dak played last year.
I'm surprised though that they did the deal now. I thought for sure that they were going to franchise him just so that they could test him out and make sure that he's good to go on that ankle and all that. But
yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the numbers come out to. But I think Dak probably wanted to do the deal now, so he has security, long-term security, with his ankle coming off the ankle. Well, like I said, the numbers I think will be interesting to see if he took any discounts coming off the injury, but I don't think he will because he didn't want to take a discount last year, and I thought for sure that this was going to be a classic Jerry Jones gaffe, and that they were going to screw this whole thing up, franchise him twice, and they were going to lose him like Washington did Kirk Cousins a couple of years ago. And obviously they didn't. Jerry got him signed. So now I'm pretty sure that whole offense, their skill positions are signed for the foreseeable future. Their trio of Cooper, Elliott, and Prescott now. I
Mhm.
think Gallup is signed for a couple of years. I don't think he's signed as long as those three are.
I don't know, but they also still have CD Lamb, who was on his rookie contract. His first year was last year, so
Right. Yeah.
they're set
And,
up for a couple of years.
yeah, Tony Pollard's going into his third year now this year. So anyways, while we wait to see if the numbers come out at the end of the show here, yeah. Going back to my off-ball linebacker rankings here, yeah. Micah Parsons, though, his Cotton Bowl performance in 2019 against Memphis was absolutely fantastic. I thought he was going to go to the draft last year because he balled out so well in the Cotton Bowl there. Decided to wait and come out this year. And yeah, I mean, he's the legitimate number one linebacker option. And I always get mad because my teams never draft Penn State players, especially Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. I never understand why teams never draft players from their own state. Like the Panthers. The Panthers have never drafted a Clemson player. Just absolutely crazy. So, yeah. But anyways, I've heard, or earlier in the offseason, I saw some mock drafts having Parsons go to the Eagles at 6. I wouldn't necessarily hate that selection because I think he has a slam dunk selection. But Eagles never prioritize linebackers. So probably not going to happen. Xavier Collins at number 2. Oh my God, is this guy explosive? If we would have had an actual scouting combine this year, I'm sure he would have jumped out of Lucas Oil Stadium. His 90-yard pick 6 to win the game against Tulane was probably one of my favorite moments of the 2020 college season this past year. And yeah, the kid is electric. He's got a great motor. And I know you mentioned his positional versatility. I think that he's probably going to be better in a 3-4 actually as an outside linebacker, rushing the passer and dropping in coverage that way than being in a 4-3 as an outside linebacker there. I don't know. That's just my kind of thinking of what Xavier Collins did. Because I actually watched a lot of Tulsa, surprisingly, this year. I think this is the most I've watched of Tulsa was in 2020. So I don't know why. It just happened that I was watching Tulsa a lot. But anyways, number 3, JOK there, Owusu Koromoa. I didn't see him too much this year. I think he struggled a little bit. The whole Notre Dame defense struggled against Clemson in the ACC championship game when Trevor Lawrence was running wild. All right, here it is. We got numbers for Dak Prescott. It is 4 years, $160 million, $126 million guaranteed. First 3 years, averaging $42 million per season.
So, 4 years, $160 million. It's still $40 a year. So, whether he was on the franchise tag this year or not, he's still getting the same amount. So, I guess it was more for the long-term security that he wanted the deal.
Yeah, he gets 126 in the first 3 years, so that's 42 per season, and then you get 34 in a non-guaranteed 4th year there. So, Adam Schefter says the deal can be worth up to $164 million, $66 million signing bonus, $75 million in year 1, the most in NFL history. So very front-loaded contract for Dak.
I'm kind of surprised that it's such a short contract, though, because he is still pretty young, if I can remember correctly.
think he is 26.
Yeah, so that only brings him to 30 years old at the end of his contract, which a lot of quarterbacks are still in their prime at 30 years old. So we'll see in another 4 years, but
Yeah, he was definitely one of the older quarterbacks though, when he came out, just 4 years ago. So, anyways, all right, actually 5 years ago, he was in the 2016 draft. But yeah, anyways, back to the rankings for a second time. No trade clause as well, no tag provision as well. So he will not be moved either. Owusu Koromoa, like I said, struggled against Clemson. I thought has some work to do. I agree with the run game defense. I think he could be more stout in the run game. But yeah, all in all, if it weren't for Parsons and Collins having a fantastic 2020 season, I could have saw JOK there at 2 or even 1. If Parsons would have went out last year, Owusu Koromoa probably would have been either 1 or 2 this year. Nick Bolton I have at number 4. He's a guy that's his name's been floated a lot around league circles. Solid guy. I think he has work to do in coverage. I don't remember him too much when he played this season in the SEC, specifically when they played Georgia. I remember watching that game. And really, Nick Bolton, I don't think was that much of a factor because that game was a game that Zamir White ran all over the Missouri defense, as well as James Cook for the Bulldogs. So we'll have to see how Nick Bolton does at his pro day. But yeah, I think he's a solid guy. Day 2 selection there, and potential day 1 starter. Number 5 here, I have Chaz Serrat, like you did. At number 4, solid player as well. That switch from quarterback to linebacker, that's a good story, like you said. But I think one of his better games was Miami. Obviously, he had offensive support in that one with the running game of Michael Carter and Javonte Williams, but I thought he played very well against De'Aaron King and the Miami offense. And I think Chaz is another guy that's going to be a mid-round linebacker that's going to be serviceable. I don't know if he's going to be anything spectacular, but he's going to be a linebacker that'll be able to play for 7-8 years. So, and my sleeper, oh my Lord, do I love Patty Fisher. This is the second year in a row, man. Second year in a row that I'm picking a Big Ten linebacker, and it's Patty Fisher. I picked Josie Jewell last year. Actually, that was 2 years ago that he came out, but I picked him as my guy that I liked last year. But yeah, Patty Fisher, man. His issue is that he can't really cover. He's a 2-down linebacker, very good against the run, tackling machine. Coverage skills have to get worked on. I don't think he's that fast either, which limits him in coverage as well. But like I said, he's an old school kind of linebacker, gonna pound you in the run game, and yeah, I like Patty Fisher. He was I don't know if it was a 4-year captain. I know he was at least a 3-year captain for Northwestern. Played a lot of games and a lot of snaps for the Wildcats there. But yeah, I love Patty Fisher. Just more Dak news here. They said that Dak didn't want to do a 5-year deal, which I knew that too. The reason it was 4 years, Chris, was because he wants to get to free agency quicker. So
I guess he doesn't want to be a Cowboy his whole life.
well, he can get paid for a second time.
Well, that is. I mean, I don't know if Jerry Jones and co would want to do this, but I'm like, if I were them, I would have maybe done something similar to the Patrick Mahomes contract. Obviously, not nearly as much money, but I would have done like 10 years, 350, 400 maybe. But if that's not what Dak wanted, then
yeah. And now Dak becomes the second highest paid quarterback in the league. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes making $45 million per year. So, yeah, Deshaun Watson $39 million, and then Russell Wilson, the top 4 at 35. So yeah, great that we went long enough to get the Dak deal in.
Yep.
But next Monday, off-season week 6, we will be previewing free agency, as well as having our 2021 NFL draft rankings for safeties. We will be talking Trayvon Moehrig from TCU, Jacoby Stevens from LSU, among others. Also, we will have the FCS recap as always. And yeah, like I said, can't wait for next week to talk about free agency. Going to be a longer show. I can tell you that already. So yeah, we will be back on Monday. We'll have the corners on Football Friday this week. Hopefully Mark will return. I'm not sure. He said he's going to be out of town this weekend, so don't know when he's leaving for that. But yeah, that is our show today, everyone. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media here on YouTube, as well as our Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter. Those two are at FAA Podcast, FAA 2 A's Podcast, as well as follow our website, faapodcast.com. Check us out on Teespring as well. We have our merchandise up, St. Patrick's Day stuff. A lot of good stuff there. I'm getting my shirt in hopefully tomorrow. And I'll be wearing it on probably not Friday, but for next Monday's show, considering that's the last one before St. Patrick's Day. A lot of good stuff there. We do have a promotion going on right now. 20% off when you use the code. It's St. Pat's 21. Is that what it is?
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Well, the link to our Teespring is pinned to the top of our Facebook page. So just go on there and you will be able to see that. Yeah, it is St. Pat's 21. The offer code is right there with that. So available on our Facebook page. You can also click the shop button on the top right of our website as well. It will take you to Teespring's website. Alrighty. A lot at the end there. Great that we got the Dak deal in. As always, Chris, thank you. And